The Random Jottings of Donald J. in Nelson in Pendle, Lancashire. Tragic hanging in history of Spring Gardens Mill Colne. Colne's ancient waterside since Nicholas England Sr. built his original Spring Gardens cotton mill in the year of 1847. By 1850 the round-the-clock weaving mill was being run by the mill magnates Nicholas England Jr. and Thomas Thornber England, with Haslams Ltd. becoming the new owner some 35 years later. However, a devastating fire on Thursday, March 18, 1875 would see the 1847 mill burnt to the ground and a new, huge, five-storey mill being built by the England family. This is the mighty mill as seen here so well in our 1935 aerial photo. After running the cotton mill since 1887, in 1931 due to the slump in the cotton industry, poor, old Harry Haslam had to make every one of his 632 employees redundant. At the end of the long and distressing day, Harry then tragically climbed the many stone steps to the very top floor of his once thriving mill and hung himself from an overhead metal beam. It was the end of an era for the heartbroken Harry and the mill's cotton heritage. In 1943, the prodigious pressed felts Ltd. began big business in the mill, and during the post-war years were joined by Bess Silks, Bess Velvets, the British Hat Band Company, Gallic Crepes, Melfa Manufacturing and Qualitex Silks, all bringing many well-paid jobs to Colne. Today the once booming Spring Gardens Mill is no more, being demolished in a few months only. And as the current owner genial Jeff Wolfenden says, sadly our company's Spring Gardens Mill has become just too antiquated for use in the 21st century. The history of Spring Gardens Mill was long and varied, filled with both triumphs and tragedies. But perhaps the most tragic event in its history occurred in 1931, during the depths of the Great Depression. Harry Haslam had inherited the mill from his father, who had bought it from the England family in 1887. For decades, the mill had been a thriving hub of activity, providing employment for hundreds of workers in the surrounding area. But by 1931, the cotton industry was in decline, and Harry found himself facing mounting debts and dwindling profits. Despite his best efforts to keep the mill afloat, he was eventually forced to lay off all 632 of his employees. It was a devastating blow to the community, and Harry felt the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. As the sun began to set on that long and difficult day, he made his way up to the top floor of the mill, where he knew he would find a sturdy metal beam to hang himself from. It was a tragic end to a long and difficult struggle. Harry had done everything he could to keep the mill running, but in the end, it was simply too much for him to bear. In the years that followed, the mill changed hands several times, with various companies coming and going. But the memory of Harry Haslam and the tragic end to his tenure at Spring Gardens Mill lingered on, a reminder of the highs and lows of the cotton industry and the toll it could take on those who invested their time, energy, and money into its success. Today, the once proud Spring Gardens Mill is no more, having been demolished to make way for newer, more modern structures. But the memory of its storied past lives on, a testament to the many lives that were touched by its history, both joyous and tragic. By Donald J.